Hello, everyone. We are past the semis, on to the final in the Euro 2025 in Switzerland. As always, I brought you the biggest expert in women's football internationally, Sophie Lawson, to talk to me about this tournament. And Sophie, we've recorded this episode three times now because I messed up three times. So actually, we should be very good and know what we want to say and move on really quickly.
You'd think so, but probably not.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you like what you do, which we do, we have to admit, we like talking. We like talking about football. So we most probably will take a little longer than we want to. Well, I kind of, in all those recordings, I kind of wasted all my energy calling you a traitor because you're still the number one person not in love with England, even though I should be the biggest lucky charm England has because each time I text you about the game, they turn it around, and that's what they did against Germany. Was it Germany? Yeah, it was
Italy.
Germany.
It was
No, it was
Germany. No,
Italy. It was Italy.
it was
Yeah.
Italy. It was
Oh
Sweden
my
and
God.
Italy.
See, it's been so long. They turned it against Italy in a game where Italy actually had everything to ride it home, right?
Yeah, you sent me a message that said Lion exits, and then I said just responded England subs, and then Serena made some subs, and then England won. Um, so yeah, I think you're to blame. Um, but I'm not the biggest traitor. There are loads of people who don't like watching England win. Loads of Italians and Swedes right now who do not like watching England win. Um, I I have a complicated relationship with England. We don't need to get into it. But look, England did it again. They left it even later this time. And yeah, it's hard not to feel bad for Italy because even if they were in a weaker group, it was still a lot of work for them to get through to get over the hump of all their demons from 3 years ago. And they were so close, and you could see that they were losing all their best players. They'd had to take everyone off because they were injured, and they were just trying to get over the line, just trying to fall over the line if they could. Um, and they were pipped to the post.
I think there's two tails into this game. The first one is Italy actually knowing what to do. They
Mhm.
had a clever game plan which neutralized England a lot. But then there was also Italy not having the squad depth that England has. And as we spoke to last week about it, the lack of experience. I mean, I jokingly talked about Bergamaschi, which I'm still in love with because she started her career in Switzerland. But that's the kind of player that at least she would have had some more experience to have some grit in those final minutes to push someone away, to maybe get even a card and so on. And I think that's what happens in the end. You have Severini who has that golden ball and she misses it. And from then on, Italy wanted to defend, but they didn't know how to keep England at bay, to keep them far away. And there, maybe experience and yeah, maybe some aggressiveness could have helped.
It's they they don't. It's not even the experience, I'd say, but it's in the big moments that it counts. And Severini had that. Oh my days! All she had to do was not just pass it into Hannah Hampton's gloves. And I mean, look, she's 22. She's only got a handful of caps. A lot of this squad is either very experienced, and those very experienced players started, or they are very inexperienced, whether they're younger or older. Like you look at Elisabetta Oliviero, who's 28, but again only has a handful of caps, but has played so well this tournament. But they didn't have they could have done, as you said, with some physicality in midfield, like a Bergamaschi, or I said it on something that didn't that the file got corrupted, but I would have loved to have seen Giulia Gelagoni this tournament, but she had a knock. She was one of the players her and Bacardi ended up missing out. And I just think she's a young player, but she's got some physicality, and I think that could have helped. But yeah, it was so unfortunate seeing them go out like that. And the penalty, yes, it's a penalty. It's soft, but it's a penalty. It's a silly thing to do at that time in the game. Ah, dear. And I think you compare that with England, who have all the depth that Italy don't have, in England, who have all that know-how of going deep in tournaments, and even the fact that you've got the Arsenal players in the England team, the Chelsea players, all those who go deep in the Champions League. Conversely, you look at Italy, and it's a lot of Juventus players, Roma players. Yes, they do have Champions League experience, but not in those big crunch moments in games. And I think it all just kind of unraveled for them. But I think we saw Gidelli go off injured. And I was already worried about what could happen in the final without Gidelli because she's so important for Italy. But that in itself kind of speaks to a problem Italy have, because for as good as they were, they really needed Gidelli to step up in those moments. And without her, and considering her age, and maybe this is her last tournament, as much as I like that bright future for Italy, I think they're missing a big piece in Gidelli.
This is such a funny thing. When Portugal went out, someone went to Ana Borges, who's 36, and I think even turning 37 this year still, and asked her, "Do you think it was your last Euros?" I'm like, mate,
It's Anna Borget.
sh she shouldn't be, maybe she shouldn't even be still in the squad. She's 36. The next Euros is in 4 years. She'll be 40 and she's no Cristiano Ronaldo, so yeah. It's like the people who go and ask Ronaldo, Cristiano, they asked him earlier this year, "Do you think this will be your last World Cup 2026?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it better be. He'll be like 43." And I mean, come on. Let's not exaggerate, right?
I mean, it's as long as Neto is in charge, he's going to pull her up. Like there's always older player veterans in the Portugal squad. That's something they need to get over, and actually phrase in the younger children, the younger players more. But we've talked about that. You're
Yeah.
very strongly Neto out. Um,
So yeah, let's go back to Girelli. She had a great tournament. I think Italy could have done with two or three more of those. Maybe not 35-year-olds, but two or three
and
more who would have just given some more depth and some more experience. They didn't. They chose not to. They didn't have the kind of player with that quality. So yeah, maybe this tournament came a little bit too early for them. Still, it was very good. And England, I mean, we have to mention it again. If you can sub in the people she subbed in, if you can keep Ajemang after this season, after the way she's been doing in this Euros, still on the bench until the 81st minute or something like that. I mean, yeah, you must be having very very minor problems, I think, because yeah, it's neglectable.
it's it's Serena being silly. It's what she always does. But I think, with the subs, England always had that chance, as I messaged you. Um, but just bring them on earlier. And then you don't have to play extra time. Uh, just do the job. It's what Wiegman does. It's what Wiegman did 3 years ago. It's the MO. It's the starting 11. It's the favorite 11, and then the game changes, and the game changes change the game. And no other team at this Euros, not even Spain, can boast that degree of depth. Spain have very good players on the bench, but they can't sub like for like talent. I think we saw that, and we'll get onto it in a second. But taking off Esther and bringing on Salma, playing her in the nine, doesn't work, especially when you've got CMP on the bench. Why you don't just make that? We'll talk about that in a minute. But
I
yeah, England
yeah.
have the depth.
It's incredible the depth that England has and the way they have managed to keep that squad calm. The bloke who did the commentary for Swiss TV, together with Rachel Rinas, which you of course know who that is. But he went on that Sarina Wichmann got asked the team, "What should I do if we are in a pinch?" And then the team told her just stay calm and let us handle it. And apparently it works. And now England is in the final and will face Spain because Spain had a very, very weird game. I think they they are missing the opportunity to ramp up their game. They actually started ramping it down. I think after the Belgium game against Italy, they had it almost secure, and then against Switzerland, they put in some walking football performance, and it's something we saw with Servette in the Swiss league this year. If you don't manage to keep the intensity high, if you need to then switch it on, by the end you are too late because you don't get into those repetitions. You don't get into those high turning points, right? And that's what happened to Spain. Spain was always better on the ball. Of course, Germany did well. They defended with 9 players, and they did well. The woman to woman marking, Putellas was taken out of the game, but Spain actually couldn't run and never did all those runs, never tried to challenge them, and that left Germany always in the game and maybe for too long if you're a Spanish player.
Yeah, I just want to go, just before we really get into it, I just want to go quickly back to what you were just saying there. One, you mentioned Renast, and I just want to say, if anyone hasn't heard the song from the 2017 Euros, United in Red, from the Swiss national team, they should go and listen to it and be amazed at how much of a good singer she is. Um, and you talked about England being calm. I think that's the marker of the Wiegman era is the unity, the confidence, and the calm. That's what she's brought. That's how that squad was elevated. It's not that talent has suddenly exploded. It's the mentality has changed, and that is what we can thank Wiegman for. That should be her hallmark. Right now, on to Spain, Germany. Yeah, no, it was slow. It wasn't great. It was, I think, the first game, although a little bit the last one as well, where Alexia went from being exceptional in the group stage to being, if you just look at her stats from that game, they're nowhere near as good. She was out of the game for most of it, and again, I really like Germany's resilience in this game. I want to kind of tip my hat to them if I can, especially they'd just like 3 days before they'd played 2 hours with 10 players. They had held France back and held them back and held them back and held them back. Um, to
Just
then come
like
into this
Hendrik did
game,
with the hair of her opponent.
that was more of a pull than a hold.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sorry.
Uh, yeah, that was that was a strange moment and a weird game. I think we saw Berger at her best again. It was slow from Spain. Spain love Plan A. Plan A is the same as Barcelona. It's pass, 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 pass. It's okay. The gap will open. Pass, 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 pass. It's okay. We've got world class players. They can do something if pass, 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 pass. And that's what we see from Barcelona a lot of the time. That's what we see from Spain, which is why you need your players like if you're Barcelona, you need your Rolfers and your Graham Hansons because they're that little bit different. And why Spain need Esther because she's not in that Barcelona mold. She's a number 9. She's pure number 9. And they need someone to do something different. That's they don't have, and it's just pass, 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 pass. Finally, the gap opened. There was enough room for Aitana in the 113th minute. After some good saves from Berger and evidently good research that Berger does leave that little gap at her near post and a fantastic execution on that shot. Not every player can finish that.
And also
And
letting that ball through. There was
yeah,
perfect trickery there. Just open her legs, let the ball go through. Knack was not imagining that to happen, and those are the moments of brilliance that you can get from players like that.
which I think Knack, you could see she picked up an injury in the first half. And she just kept playing through. She was technically the only defender Germany had on the pitch in that game after Kleinherner went off, also injured. Um, but yeah, I think Germany did so much and were really up against it. And Spain could and should have taken care of that game a lot sooner. But as you said, that they can't they can't speed their game up. But if anything is going to sort of shock them and spark them into action, it's the fact that they almost had to face Germany in penalty. They almost had to try and score penalties, beat past and Catherine Berger. Like that should be fear, and that should make them kind of raise their game for England.
Can we fault Germany for Yeah, after like 80 minutes saying we'll sit this one out and Berger will get us through. Because I
A
think
little
they
bit.
did that a little bit, right?
There's also a point like 85 minutes in where they had a free kick in Spain's half, and I blinked and they passed it back to Berger. And I thought, what are you doing? They were exhausted, and I have a big bone to pick with Christian Vuk. He has a whole bench. I mean, not a whole bench. He has suspended and injured players on it, but he has a quite big bench, and he didn't use it at all in the France game, and he barely used it against Spain. And you could just see, look, Kabul, Julebrand, and Hoffman as well. They just run and run and run. What do you want of them? And you could see even in this game when they got forward, because Germany did have a fair few attacks, but they kept making the wrong decision. They always went with the selfish rather than selfless. They didn't look for the pass. They didn't look for the pass soon enough. And they could have had a couple of goals in the first half if their finishing was better. But you could see even in the first half they were mentally tired from the last game,
You
and
know what's
that's
funny? In Switzerland now, people are doing analysis on the Swiss game, of course, in the Swiss tournament. And now some time has settled, so the rose-colored glasses are off. But a lot of people are using Vuk as a good excuse for saying how Pia isn't that bad for changing late. And I'm like, yeah, of course, pest is worse than cholera. Yeah, that happens. Having no legs is worse than having only one leg. Yeah, that's stupid, but you know what I mean. It's so bad, and he has to blame himself either for not trusting his players or for wanting too much from them because he has a whole bench. He has five changes, as an additional one in extra time. He should use them.
I just bringing on Churchy for Hoffman, and then bringing on Leo Schürrle after Spain had scored. I know Schürrle hasn't had the best tournament, but Schürrle has a massive amount of experience. She can be such a handful in the box. And to bring her on with 6 minutes of extra time left when you're a goal down already, and you can't get forward, and you don't have it in your tanks to even do anything smart. It's just like, I know he's inexperienced when it comes to this level, or women's football or senior football, but you just can't run your players into the ground. That's basic understanding of fitness. I just want to see like Brand and Bull, particularly just on a beach. Just give them a month
Yeah,
off. Let them rehab. They need it. They deserve it. Their defensive stats, those two, they're Germany's best two attackers, were also Germany's best two defense.
and that
It's
that
crazy.
that speaks volumes. Help me with the squad. I don't know too much about German football these days because I just frankly don't like the Bundesliga, but that's just me. Um, but here in Switzerland, we also had a lack of defense just because Pia just decided to only bring five along, even though she plays with a back five. She was like, "Ah, five is enough. Oh yeah, let's just bring two real center backs and not play one, not once, because well, why not? I have three in my system, but I only have one on the field, and that happens to be the worst of all. But yeah, either way, did he? I mean, there was talk about leaving out Felicitas Rauch and so on. Did he not nominate the best squad looking into his game plan, which was always like a 5-4-1?
It's true. He started playing five in the tricky games. I think the first few he was four at the back, and that's you saw Minya starting in midfield and then drop every time someone got sent off. Um, Maybe he should have brought for Staslach. The very fact that as soon as Gvin got injured, he brought on Kale Vamsa, who's an attacker, and then when she was suspended, he moved Linda over to the right and brought on Francie Kett, who is also technically an attacker, and is coming back from injury and hasn't had a solid season. And then when Linda got injured, he finally brought on Kleinherner, who never gets a look. You also got Janine Minya starting all tournament at centre back. She's a defensive midfielder. Um, what we know about Vuk is I need to phrase this correctly. He prefers, because he's come from the youth setup, he prefers working with younger players. Um, and I need to be very careful. I don't just say he likes them young. But he prefers younger players And that's the problem with Germany is you look at so like a Filial, a little bit older. He kind of his one older player in the defense was Catherine Hendrich, who comes in with a wealth of experience and then does the stupidest thing. But he does prefer a younger squad. He's trying to evolve it. I think the problem Germany have is, just after he took over, Hegering retired, and Hegering was not the best centre back in the world, but she was so present for Germany and so reliable. But also, they lost Alex Popp, and Alex Popp, even if you're playing her at 9, will get back into the midfield and defend for you. Like, just leave it all on the pitch. Again, they don't have Lena Oberdorf this tournament because she's still recovering from an ACL, and all of that means you're putting so much more pressure on the defense, which is made up of attackers with not much experience. So I think they actually did surprisingly well considering all that. But there's just so much frustration over things he could have done. He's really favoured Hoffmann ever since he came in. I don't see it. I think he brought the wrong player from RB Leipzig. Um, and you've got Sakai. You could bring her on. She's got good pace. She's had a really good season called Sakai. We didn't see Sakai. He brings Churchy on so late. Again, has a great season, but barely plays. So comes in cold. So even when he brings on Sydney Lawman in extra time, and then she ends up leaving everyone on side, she's barely played. Like
Yeah.
you'd give her time to warm up.
Yeah, I
It's just a
think
mess.
he's too set in his ways. I mean, you mentioned Pop. I just had a little Google just to go be sure because I remembered she was younger than me. Why is she not playing? Come on, convince her to stay on for another year. It's the Euros. It could have been if it wasn't him. I know. And then the thing you say, he likes the younger players. I think we are stepping way too much into that trap that men's football has already done. But if you look who we are bringing in these days, when there's money to coach, we're bringing guys from the youth system, and they are falling way too much into the trap of younger is always better. In Switzerland, we're always also having them, so people want Pia Sundhage to sign for 4 years, which I'm like, no, no. 2 years is already too much, but four, come on, guys. She'll be 70 by the by the next Euros, and it's okay. You can be 70 and be good. The Tavares still is coaching, but usually you kind of lose a step, right? Anyway, but that's the thing, and also the way he does it is also very telling of his youth background. Because in youth, you always told, yeah, players should switch around, they should try to be polyvalent. Then it's better to use Marcus, who is really good, because Marcus is the best of his generation. So we can actually use him as a 6, as a 10, and as a central defender. And I rather have Marcus than trying someone who's been playing that for 38 games a season. And that's the kind of thinking you shouldn't have him, but that's the thing he has. That's why we saw Minga as a center back. That's why we saw all those rotations and changes. And maybe that's also why Germany is not in the final.
They weren't far from the final. And
They weren't.
they didn't have a good tournament, and they still ended up, you know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes away from penalties. Um,
My
I
question is, could you do something like Anyomi? For instance, someone who brings some
speed.
speed, who brings some kind of power up into the front, some dynamic. I don't think they ever had a sub who did anything like that. Would
Well,
Germany
they
have
didn't use
players
them.
like that?
He could have brought on Claude Sakai. He left Anyomi at home with Rauch. Um, so they weren't at home together. But and we know Nikki is fast, but again, she herself has just had a phenomenal season with Eintracht. She comes in good form. She comes in with goals. She, especially if you're trying to stretch the game, if you're tired, if you've been running Bull and Brandt and Hoffman into the ground. You can bring on Anomi, and then you have fresh legs and incredible speed to run at the back line. And we know she's so good when she gets into those dangerous areas as well. Like she has such a nose for goal. We haven't really ever seen it with Germany because no manager has trusted her, but she's got those goals. Why didn't she come? Especially he brings the guy, he doesn't play her. Like ah,
I
bring
think
Anomi.
I'm seeing with Germany a little bit what I have been seeing with Switzerland. Funnily enough, it's both Martina Voss-Tecklenburg's heritage of trusting too much into the system and the system players, and not the playing system, but the system built around the FA, which was the way Martina Voss-Tecklenburg set it up in Switzerland. It's the way she set it up in Germany. Vuk is now someone else, but Gruberesch never changed anything in that system, and Vuk might be just a continuation of that. So that's why you see those that sticking to the status quo instead of trying new things.
I think English, and I have to laugh because I was going back through Germany games. I was thinking, was that Kukulic or was that Martin? I forget, like couldn't quite work out who it was because obviously he managed as an interim either side of her with Germany. And Horst Kukulic loves, I mean, absolutely adores 4-4-2. He just and when he first came in as an interim after Steffi Jones, there was so much confusion for Germany. And he said, look, here's 4-4-2. Everyone knows what they're doing. This is it. And they played so well because everyone knew what they were doing after so much confusion. And it just worked for them. And then when Voss-Tecklenburg left, he came back in and it was 4-4-2 again. And it wasn't as good. But hey, they got a bronze at the Olympics. I think he goes back to basics Horst. Whereas Vuk, I think, is trying to do his own thing, but he's a little bit out of his depth. Um, he's I I don't know. Because he's so new to the women's football as well, to Frauenfussball. He's got Mara Meinert and Saskia Bartosiak as his assistants to try and help catch him up. And there was a big overhaul as well in Germany with Nia Kunze coming in, kind of taking on a new role within the DFB and just trying to get German women's football back to where they think it should be. And then they appoint Vrook, and you go, okay, that's a strange thing, but hey, let's give him time. I think like André Sonshin is okay. Look, maybe you're not who I would pick for this role, but what can you do? Just prove that you deserve this. And I think Sonshin has done that with Italy. Vrook has yet to do that with Germany.
Well, let's see if he can withstand now the storms because people are pointing fingers at him. I think, yeah, I don't think he has to go. I think he just needs to learn from this tournament. Now, who should be going is Montse Tomé, but she's still here. She's in the final. She's facing Sarina Wichmann, and that's some odds no one should lightly want to face because Sarina, when it comes to the Euros, but either way, if it's not the Olympics, that lady's doing well, huh?
Yeah, everyone forgets how bad the Dutch were at the Olympics. The Dutch were really bad in Tokyo. If you don't
Not
remember,
you and
please,
not me.
I just anyone
We
listening, if
remember.
you I know, but they had the defense was so bad. And if you're not familiar, please do go and look up what the Dutch did in Tokyo because it's hilarious. Um, but yeah, I have I think Wiegman is definitely a better manager than Monty, but I just on paper I just see Spain winning. But I also think Tomei has the easiest job in Tomei and Emma Hayes. Not to put them not to say that they're the same coach or anything like that. They're very different coaches. The easiest jobs in women's football. I wish I could just like, oh wow, the Spain squad, sure. I can I can coach them. They know what they're doing. They just, and she
Yeah,
always looks so
the
vexed as
bloke
well,
at
Tomei.
Barcelona already did it. So
Right.
you basically just need to throw them in, and like they catch each other up. Those two who are not in the Barca squad, they will tell each other what to do.
It's, I think if Spain can lift their level, if they actually have had that scare against Germany, they're the better team, right? And if they can actually, if they have that scare, they raise their level and they do something in the first half against England to a point of not letting England into the game, job's done. Job's a good one. We know that England will freshen stuff up. We know that Michelle Adjiman and Chloe Kelly are not going to start, but they will come on. So you have to make sure that the game is already out of sight by the time that happens. I don't necessarily have faith in Tomé, but I do just think that Spain have so much quality, they can get that job done in the first out.
Does England even have the ability to lock things down, park the bus, just as Switzerland did it for 60 minutes, as Germany tried to do it for 120? Can England play with such low lines?
Oh, absolutely. I actually think what's funny is so this will be the third meeting of England and Spain this calendar year.
The Nations League is stupid.
The Nations League is so frustrating. So England won 1-0 at Wembley, Spain won 2-1 in Catalonia, and now they're playing each other on neutral territory. But I think what's funny is England have, when they face Spain, yes, they don't have as much possession as they would normally have, but they have more possession than most other teams against Spain. Because Spain are kind of pulling around like 73% possession this tournament across all the games. That's the average. When you look at the games they faced against England, they usually only have sort of around 65%, which does make a difference. But yeah, England having played them so often, they know, even without watching Spain this tournament, they know hit them through route one, get them in the transitions, play out wide, get behind the fullbacks, because Badger and Caruana are pushing up. There is plenty of space there. And then you're like one on one with Paredes. Who doesn't want to be one on one with Irina Paredes? And then you just got to beat Batakoy. But there's so much chance and opportunity for England in this game. And they really beaten Spain once this year. They beat them at the last Euros. Yes, that was a different Spain, but still they're going to have confidence coming into it. They just know that they need to be smart behind the ball.
Who are we looking at to play directly against those magic three from Spain? Patri, Aitana, and Alexia. Who's gonna take them on?
Kira Walsh, because we don't have enough Barcelona on the pitch as it is. Kira Walsh, who knows plenty about that midfield three. Probably Georgia Stanway, who will do very well to avoid a yellow card. And I would say it's probably going to be Ella Toon in midfield. I think it was Jess Park last time they met, but Park hasn't played much this tournament, which is a bit of a surprise. But it's really going to be about Stanway and Walsh and sort of how much the front the attack also gets back and helps out. But I mean, during the Germany Spain semi-final, Alex Scott asked Josie Henning in the studio, "Oh, they're playing long balls. Is that the tactic, Josie?" I'm sat here thinking, I'm sorry, do you want to play into a midfield of Alexia, Aitana, and Patri? Is that because that is not a good idea. It doesn't matter who you are. Yes, it's the sensible thing is just to circumvent, is just to go over it. And that's how they're vulnerable as well, is just getting behind. In England like that. In England have no problems playing Route One. I mean, we invented it.
Yeah, now the question is who will start up front? Who will start up front where we see the same top three trying to beat with speed? Because yeah, Alessia is fast, that she does have. But I mean, Chloe but they are not playing. We know. Alessia will
Fast though.
start, and who will be on the wings?
Hemp, Hemp who is fast.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You,
true.
you
Yeah,
you can never forget that Hemp has a lot of speed. And so this is the question because, excuse me, Lauren James has a knock, and last we heard, she was a maybe for the game. Now, if Lauren James is fit to start, Lauren James will start. If Lauren James isn't fit to start, I would assume we're going to see Beth Mead, who is. I'm trying to think of a nice way of saying this. She's a gritty player. She's going to run at that back line. She can be a handful. Beth Mead, obviously, she had such a good tournament 3 years ago. Been played a bit of a bit part over the last couple of years. But if James isn't fit to start, we'll see Mead.
worst case, Jill Scott's still somewhere around. Just throw her in there.
Oh, she's been doing media for the FA. Like,
It's
oh yeah, she's
basically the same. Yeah, so we're looking into a big final. You think England is ready for that, or do you think actually Spain might get surprised?
I'm not sure. I think sometimes football surprises you, but I feel like I've been watching the same England performance for a few years. Um, I on paper I think Spain have it, but as I've said so often the last week, Barcelona were heavy favourites against Arsenal, and look what happened.
Well, at least I know now not to text you before the game is over.
Unless you want England to win, that's
Yeah,
on
I
you.
mean, I wouldn't mind, but yeah, I think also we're looking into a Spain title, a first Spain title, which would be much deserved, honestly. They are at the moment just on another level. This will be a good game, and this will be then the one we will talk about in 2 3 days' time, and then we will take some time to speak about the AFCON and the Copa America, just so people are up to date. But yeah, that's really all we had to talk about in this episode. We recorded 3 times. Thank you for your patience, Sophie.
Got over the line, which
And
is more
I,
than we said for Italy.
that's true. And I thank everyone for watching. I actually got lucky and got to watch Inter Milan against Inter Milan against the Young Boys today. A nice 3-4. So Milan won with Lina Magul, who could have helped maybe Germany. I don't know.
Mm.
But I got some feedback, like 3 or 4 people who came and said they really enjoy your presence here in our channel.
I hope you said you preemptively said thank you from me.
I did. And they are looking
Okay.
forward to the next episode. So am I. I think we'll speak on Sunday night, maybe on Monday morning. Have a great final, everyone. You too, Sophie, and see you after the final. Bye, everyone.
Cheers.